This is Dan Barrett from the Greater Toronto Area Council, speaking to you today about the You Can Make Sure Ontario Have Decent Work cards that are currently being signed off by members and collected. So this is a card to your member of Provincial Parliament, and so essentially what we're doing now is collecting these cards, getting them back to the OFL so that they can deliver them en masse to the different MPPs. And it reads, "As your constituent, I want you to know that I appreciate the efforts of the Changing Workplace Review and your participation. Now is the time to make positive change for workers and modernize our laws in Ontario. I'm very concerned about the rise in precarious work from my own experience or through my friends and family who are struggling to get by. I am particularly worried about young people who are getting stuck in low-wage, part-time, and temporary jobs. Your constituents need well-paid, stable work with protections under the law to make sure they are treated fairly at work. As my MPP, I urge you to use the Changing Workplace Review this year as an opportunity to improve the Employment Standards and Labour Relations Act to make sure all Ontarians have decent work conditions and that it is easier for them to join and keep a union." To find out how you can raise the bar for all workers, go to makeitfair.ca or 15&FairnessMPPCards.org. So if we're able to improve labor laws in Ontario, then we have a better chance of improving labor laws nationally in Canada. And although in the last election the $15 minimum wage that was denied, I think it's we've seen a number of recent wins on the front for $15 for fairness, like York University and the UFT Scarborough campus. And essentially, if we level the playing field so that everybody is fairly treated, we're all going to be better off. So fight for 15 and fairness and help make it fair.